joining us. Obviously, you're a specialist in running campaigns for professional services firms. So many professional firms rely on seminar programs and big conferences for their marketing. How do you think they're going to replace that in the new post-coronavirus world?
It seems like the immediate thing that companies and events producers are doing is trying to replicate the conference model online, and we've seen an enormous rush in the last kind of month to staging lots and lots of virtual events. I guess the problem or the challenge that everyone in this field isn't going to need to solve is actually, what does the audience want? And it's the same question as you might think in any situation. Does the audience that used to go to physical events want to sit through 6 hours of online events? Or do we have to start thinking about this differently, in as much that maybe what is going to be produced is more like the teasing of a movie production or a movie premiere, where the event becomes the end point and all of the content needs to be created ahead of time to tease a physical event that then people can dip into as they need, and also get more value from the back end of it if they're not going to it in that one big block. So whereas kind of events used to be, we are going to hold this gathering and we're going to get all these speakers to come and we're going to tell you little bits about it, but we're not going to tell you a whole lot up until you actually come to the event. I think probably kind of companies and event producers, promoters are going to have to create a lot more content ahead of time to actually win the audience to take part in the event itself.
So what? White papers, articles, blogs, video content, all of the above?
Yes, so highly produced video content, something that makes the actual event itself seem like a spectacle, something that you really, really want to go to, because you're going to have to cut through an enormous amount of noise. There are now that, guess what? The world is now woken up to video remote events, and you're going to have to be able to cut through that. And so that involves highly produced video, good names, good content, good insight coming ahead of actually attending it. I think is kind of a rapid morphing of what was already happening, whereas the events business has not been standalone for a long time. It's been part of a content operation. It's been part of a white paper and a research operation. They've all worked together over the last decade, but it's almost like those boundaries and those barriers have just basically fallen apart now that it's gone virtual.
And you said having kind of great insight is kind of critical. Can you tell me what you learned about, finding that nugget of an idea and telling a great story?
I think it is about really how you can be useful to your audience. If you hark on about how great you are, no one's going to bother. So a lot of the hard work in this is done ahead of time. Why are we writing this? Why are we creating this campaign, this thinking? Who specifically are our audience? What do they want to know that is useful to them? How do they like getting their information? These are classic building blocks of good storytelling and good communication.
Is there anything that can be learned from journalists?
The tone of writing, the sensibility of drawing a story out, of bringing character in where you can. Sometimes that's through good pull quotes, it's through having good kind of interviews that you can tease. It's
so letting the personalities of either the partners or, case studies.
Absolutely, because whoever your target audience is, whether they're clients, whether it's like more general, they relate to people. What journalism does well is takes people on a journey, right? It sets a scene, it carries you through, it makes you want to keep writing, and that is a journalistic skill. Cool. The journalists themselves won't be the experts in it, but they will be able to, and then the writer will be able to guide you across along the journey. Sometimes I think we think in a digital world that everything has to be visual, it has to be video, it has to be short, sharp, snappy. But really, when it comes to thought leadership, the real cut through comes through with the full report of buying the time, of demanding the time of an executive to actually commit to it.
That certainly resonates with the research we've seen, which is that CEOs really value the hard data, the hard content, market information, survey data, subject matter experts. They don't want something superficial, oblique, entertaining. They're using it with a purpose.
Yeah, because to be honest, they don't have the time in the day to be entertained. And so when they actually are going to dedicate time to something, they want to get something out of it that at the end of it, they go, oh yeah, that is going to have a material effect on my business. I'm glad I put the time and effort into reading that.